Hi, my name is Dilip Patel and I'm a happiness coach. I'm also part of the DLC Global Happiness Committee. Welcome to my DLC talk. Why happiness? Because the employees with an emotional base of happiness, they produce 22% more. Isn't it known to all of us? Well, yes and no. Most of the companies go with the flow. They offer the best of the packages that they can think about and then expect that their employees are going to be happy. Even the employees do not know where does their happiness reside, in their paycheck or elsewhere. How else otherwise will there be so many dissatisfied, disturbed, and even depressed souls in almost all the organizations? Each person perceives his happiness very differently and largely through his experiences of sensorial gratifications. Very similar to those fabled 6 blind people who were asked to decipher an elephant. They touched different parts and then they started describing the whole animal very differently. And then the infighting started, the skirmishings began. Exactly that is what happens in our industrial environment. People have their psychological blindness about happiness and the problems initiate, which becomes an issue for performance. I am here to present to you the whole elephant called happiness and also propose a process to build a common emotional base of happiness for all so that the benefits can start flowing for the organizational growth. How did I get into this business of happiness? Well, by destiny and also 25 years of experience of founding and running an industry. We had set as the fresh entrepreneurs our goals to make the industry a vehicle for providing welfare for all the stakeholders. In the process, we learned many things. Various sources were available. We attempted new ideas, sometimes failed, sometimes succeeded. In fact, my inspiration came from a book called Maverick, written by a Brazilian industrialist, Ricardo Semler. He had made his company grow multifold during the period when the country was going through a lot of recession. How did he do that? He made his people so happy that with total freedom, they could manage the company and take it forward so very well. Beyond our own industrial experience, an opportunity arose to me to find out the influence happiness could create on people's behavior. There was a large industry, an Indo-American company. They had done everything right. They had signed the agreements with their workers, with the trade union. They had done a good negotiations, and they thought that everything should be running fine. But then the production was not happening. They had 2 unions in the company, and they were fighting with each other, the winning one and the losing one. And that was a headache for them to resolve. Their VP HR had seen me conducting a 3-day program on influencing people on personal change. And so he thought about me and he invited me. Well, I had no idea what was their problem. But then when I sat through there, 20 key members on one side, other 20 key members on the other side, fighting with each other, were in that hall. I simply started on a very different note. I asked them why they are doing whatever they are doing. And the immediate answer came as for the welfare of people. But then a little more probing, it brought out that they were looking for happiness for all. And now they were on my turf. I started talking to them about what they understand by happiness, and what came out was that they were not getting sleep adequately. They were tense every night. So when I told them that, look, getting good sleep, having great relationship with people who matter in your life, at workplace or in family, and your good mental and physical health are the real happinesses, they were dumbfounded. They could understand that whatever they were doing was absolutely creating their life very haywire. So over a period of few days, I was told that these people had started behaving now very differently, more amicably, and their problem of not getting the proper production was resolved. I got the accolades, and I got my convictions that happiness works. This second opportunity came my way almost 10 years later. By that time, I had sold away my industry, and I was full-time into the training, counseling, coaching, and mentoring. I had come across an organization called Initiatives of Change, an international organization, where we were training people for personal change practically almost every day. One of the IS officers had got tremendous benefit out of this program, and so he invited us to train his 12,000 workers, 12,000 people in his organization, a service organization, because he wanted the services to happen to the people with more efficiency. Now, I was in a flux. These guys did not have any reason to undergo any training. Their salaries were very high, their jobs were secured, and they had absolutely no competition. Why would they sit for any training? But that's where, again, I chose this word happiness. The health and happiness are absolutely everyone's requirements. So I led the whole 3-day program on how can they improve their happiness, how can they improve their health, and all these relationship issues, the habits issues, the problems with the seniors and all that, they all came into resolution. And at the end of 9 or 10 months, when the training program was over, the scenario had totally changed. The magic of happiness definitely works. So let's decode happiness. The simplest definition of happiness is an experience which gives you good feeling. And this begins at a very early stage. A 10, 12, 15 months old child, when licks the lollipop for the first time and feels nice about it, the definition of happiness has begun. And these kind of experiences, they keep on piling up. We want it more and more. And as we grow up, we get a lot of sensorial experiences, which becomes our definition of happiness, and that starts driving our life. And because these sensorial experiences also require money, our thought starts going on to how to earn more money, how to get better packages. So the sensorial happiness, I would like to call it as pleasure. And what is the nature of this pleasure? It is short-lived, it is non-satisfactory, it is self-oriented, it is selfish, and one wants to go more and more after that. In the worst scenarios, they can create a habit which becomes an addiction. And the addiction to so many such things can even ruin life. The second kind of happiness is achievement-oriented, reward-seeking. When we complete our work on time, we submit our projects in time, we set our goals and achieve them, and that gives us a kind of happiness which is actually a little more meaningful. But the biggest and the best part of the happiness would be the opposite of sensorial happiness, or the opposite of the pleasure side. This is an inside-out, non-sensorial, long-lasting, and highly satisfying process. So how does one achieve this kind of a happiness emotional base, that too en masse for an organization? Well, all my learnings of 20, 30 years and interaction with all kinds of people made me to create a beautiful structured process. I call this as a life balance sheet. It's an introspective process. It's a self-sculpting process. And what it does is, it helps the people to take a very different look at their own life. You need to have some paradigm shifts to happen. You need to come away from the day-to-day problem areas that you are facing. So we have to change the level of thinking. And how does that happen? In life balance sheet, we take the person to discover a much higher level of identity. And when you work from that higher identity level, the large amount of your capacities can be utilized, and that is what happens in life balance sheet process. In life balance sheet, we take the person to a higher identity, and from there, he starts examining his life. He goes through the positive side as well as the negative side of the life. He owns it up. And once he has understood his own issues, it becomes easier for him. No outsider has to tell him that where he wants to tweak, where he wants to change, where he needs to make a different way of dealing with the situation. So the life balance sheet has been being used for last more than 10 years now. All levels of people have gone through that. Maybe I would have done myself 1,000 workshops. Many other trainers whom I have trained, they would have done another 300, 400 workshops. So I would say that roughly about 40, 50,000 people have actually found this very, very powerful. That is a stage that I realized that I need to convert this into a process which can be put on the internet and millions of people can start using it. Large chunk of people's unhappiness is because we also have normally automatic negative thoughts coming in. And these automatic negative thoughts do not produce an emotional base of happiness. So life balance sheet process transforms their, whatever is the base of emotion into an emotional base of happiness. How does it work for the organizations? Well, the top people, the CXOs, the MD, the vice presidents, when they go through this process, they will be able to understand how deeply this can influence their next level people. Apart from that, of course, they themselves will be able to find out their own lacunas, their own gaps. Not that just because somebody has become a CEO or CXO that he has got no such lacuna. So right from the top, it starts flowing downwards. The middle level people who are the drivers of their profit or the drivers of all their performances, when they undertake this program in a team, then the teams become very, very strong. They are able to create harmony, they're able to create efficiency, they're able to create happiness in their people. And so the happy culture gets developed into the organization. And then the lower level people, for them, their personal life becomes very, very happy, very, very powerful. They are able to understand their habits which are not desirable. They start changing, and overall, they start seeing their life as more enjoyable way. And from that background, when they perform, obviously 22% of growth in the productivity will start happening. So my invitation to you is that get in touch with me if you wish that I should help your organization to get converted into a happy organization. And I'm very thankful and grateful to DLC and to Jimmy Mistry that he has created this platform and he has given this opportunity to me and like me so many other people. Thank you very much.